Hey friends, this is Mark Suroviec, host of the WorkPlay Solutions podcast, inviting you to discover the joy of work. All right, Rhonda, we're on.
Podcast number 2.
Number 2. We're on our way to the podcasty.
Look, yes, I can't wait.
It is not a real word. Okay. Time for new icebreaker question. We're going to start a theme of throwing out an icebreaker to start with.
I hope it's not more body parts already.
No. If you were to design your own holiday, what would you create and how would you celebrate it?
My own holiday. Is it Rhonda Day?
Pick whatever you want to celebrate and how.
I have to think of the holidays that they're not. I think we should celebrate just wins. We'll call it Win Day. We'll call it Win Day.
Okay.
And it's just the things, and it's once a year. So you have to pay attention throughout the year of all the things that you won at. So the celebration is balloons and cakes, like your birthday, kind of. And it's all about you telling the participants, the people in the audience, that thing or those things that you really, really did well. Win Day. I like that.
I like that. No, that's good. I think for me, and I really hope this doesn't turn off all our vegan listeners, International Bacon Festival Week.
You love bacon.
I do. Here's the catch with International Bacon Festival Week. I almost said 24 hours. That's not enough. For an entire week, bacon has no ill effects on your body.
I love this, Mark. You really thought this one out, didn't you?
I have.
Wait. Don't you have a bacon costume for Halloween?
I do. Thanks for bringing that up, Rhonda. Every year for Halloween, we go trick-or-treating with our family, and we go to the same neighborhood, which is not our neighborhood because our neighborhood is not super safe to walk around in. Not like gang members, just there's a lot of traffic.
Or people that would take your bacon. Yes.
Yeah, we go to this neighborhood with some friends from church and trick or treat. And every year I am a form of bacon. So it started out with a bacon costume. And then the second year I put a name tag on it that said Kevin. So I was Kevin Bacon. And the third year, our wonderful friend Erin, who's from Canada, lent me her Canadian flag. And so I was Canadian bacon. And most recently, I found a turkey hat. And so I had turkey bacon. As we're recording this, it is September 16th, so Halloween's coming up, and I need a new bacon. So if you want to write into the podcast and tell me what bacon I should be this year for Halloween, email me at mark@workplaysolutions.com and put podcast in the subject line and tell me what bacon I should be. Because I really do. I'm running out of bacon ideas. I thought about wrapping, like hugging one of my children, being bacon wrapped, whatever they are.
I love this. And so, now you can get a whole bunch of new ideas. This is great. And Bacon Week. Oh, bacon I love it.
The other one I would do, I know I'm cheating. I'm taking 2. The other holiday I would do would be a week where parents of infants and toddlers somehow magically made their children able to sleep through the night.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
It would take an act of some supernatural power for that to happen, but the parents would just get an entire week of sleep in a season in which they don't get sleep.
And they would be new people.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, new people.
Speaking of new people, how's your grandbaby?
I was actually thinking of him when you were saying that because they were up all night. He's wonderful, still got his little bald head. Still looks like a little old man, but he's really wonderful, getting a personality, starting to smile. But, I was thinking about this whole sleep thing, and it happens when you have kids and they're little. But when you get older, somehow you forget to sleep again. And so there's really no win in this situation. You can lose it when you're young, and you're going to lose it when you're old. Just keep laughing, that's all.
Love it. We're starting out achieving our goal of laughing, which is one of the things we want to do every week.
Mr. Bacon.
At least my 9-year-old is old enough that she's like, yeah, you're bacon again. I'm like, oh, who taught you to roll your eyes? Oh.
I love that. I love that.
So, so today we actually have a real topic that is not bacon related. We're going to do our first session on inside the mind of a facilitator. So this will be a multi-part series on what goes on inside a facilitator's head when he or she is working with a group. And that includes before the event starts, during the event, and after the program. So kind of looking at that from many lenses. And a lot of the examples you'll hear refer to experiential learning programs or team building retreats, or just have a wealth of knowledge and expertise in that. We'll tap into that. And we recognize that that is not the only type of facilitation. That is not the only venue in which you can facilitate. So if you are a strategic meeting facilitator, this conversation is still for you. Anything you'd like to add there, Rhonda?
No, that was a perfect summary of where we're going.
What does the facilitator think about before the program? So that's going to start out with a needs assessment. So Rhonda, tell us a little bit about needs assessments.
Well, that's really going to come from whoever is setting this up. Is it a company coming in, or is it a group of friends? So the needs are going to be very different for those two groups, or even a family, if a family's coming in to do this. And what we're looking for is what do they need? What are they trying to accomplish? What outcomes do they want to see? Why are they coming here? What's their why? I think is the big question.
Absolutely. And I've broken down the why do people come to programs like this into 4 categories. And I think these categories really help us to understand that not every client is coming for the same reason. And if you treat them that way, you will fail miserably, especially if you are one type of program and you're trying to do another type of program. So that'll make more sense as we go through these categories. Category number 1, I label connect. So these are people who are, and when I say people, I'm referring to the group leader or planner. So the person who is in charge of why the event is happening and the reason that they're calling you or emailing you or filling out your survey. So the group leader wants to connect. Connect is a category where kind of fun and human connection are the most important thing. They are coming to this team building event, but they could be doing anything that's fun that has human connection. They could just as easily be doing a barbecue or bowling or drinking disguised as team building. Not that you can't have a drinking and team building event, but often
Outcomes might be different.
Yeah, often you're not having your drinking team building event going, I really hope that we, master a communication model by the end of this session. Like no. But they could be doing anything. They just chose you. That's connect. If you were thinking about this in terms of the 5 love languages or the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace, this is the quality time group. They're wanting to be together, to enjoy the time, make memories. We call that category connect. Our next category is a step up. This is what I've labeled discover. Discover is where a lot of the traditional challenge course programs, traditional experiential learning lives, where whatever happens is good. So if we do an activity and we reflect on that activity and we go through the experiential learning cycle, doing the activity and saying what, so what, now what, then whatever conversation we have is the right conversation, whether or not that was the most important thing for the group to discuss or learn. It's just, hey, we're discovering together. There's sometimes some topics to try to steer towards, but in general, it's very free-flowing. And that's honestly most of the ropes course programs end up being that. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts or questions on those first 2 categories? No,
I like the clarification on those 2, and I do think that in my lifetime of this, it is more about the discover something or who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The third category, I would say, develop. Develop could sometimes be referred to as training or training and development. We know training and development are 2 different things technically, and we're not going to get into those details right now, but the focus is more on the skills or the content or the knowledge, the retention of that knowledge and skills, often if you're focused on develop, then, practicing those skills and things. The needle has moved from we want to do something fun and engaging, or we want to do something fun and learn from it. We want to have intentional outcomes, and those outcomes are clearly defined. So one of the key aspects of this develop category is that there's concrete goals, or maybe even one goal, and that they're easily, and I'm using air quotes, measured. So you could assess, did folks learn this skill or pick up this knowledge? That can happen in the context of a team building event or experiential learning. And then the final category I label overcome. So this idea of I'm calling because there's a problem and I need help and we need to fix it, and I will pay you whatever I need to and take as much time as we need to solve this problem. Maybe that's conflict resolution. This kind of almost borders on sometimes groups needing some sort of group therapy, but this idea of the most important thing is solving the problem, accomplishing the goal, and whatever method you have, we're going to get it done. So just, I don't know how to do it. If I knew how to do it, I would have done it already. So please help me through this process and get me from point A to point B, because point A is not okay. Thoughts, questions on either of those two?
No, but I would say if we're overcoming, I'm going to give whoever called to make this call kudos because he's paying attention. Yeah. I'm going to give him, that's the hardest one for everybody. And thank you for paying attention and getting us there. So yes, that's my 2 cents on that.
And I would say not every program and not every facilitator is equipped to handle all 4 of these categories. And I think of one from my own career. I was co-facilitating a church, and the church had some stuff, some junk going on in their church, and it was a big deal. As we started getting into that, myself and the co-facilitator, we both realized, hey, we're in over our heads. I do have a degree in sports psychology and counseling. That's what my master's is in, but I am not a licensed counselor. And I knew this has gone past my standard of care. And we referred them to a place that does group counseling, and they needed it. And it was super helpful, and I was so proud of them when they went and did that. But it was in that moment going, okay, we unpacked a can of worms that we had no business trying to unpack. And we didn't know. We did our best, because you're just assessing and learning and listening. But it would not be appropriate for us to work with that client in that capacity. They needed to be referred. Some programs, some organizations are not set up to be able to really do development programs where they can really teach, because their training and their expertise and their experience ends kind of at that discovery phase.
I think that's a good point, Mark, because I was thinking of that when you were talking about being able to send people out. I think that you, as a facilitator, need to know what your boundaries are and what your gifts are. Because if you go out of that, I'm going to use box just because I'm talking specifically about something, and you step into something that requires counseling or something bigger than you are, you need to be able to say, stop, just like you did. And as a facilitator is even listening to the person who wants the offering in the very front, listening for those lines in between what's not being said. We're coming to look at it, see what it looks like, and see if we can do something with it, which is going to require work on the body that's coming. So yeah, that's a good defining point of what the facilitator needs to be thinking, even on the intake, listening between the lines, listening to the words, asking more questions, and knowing that they only have so much capability.
Thank you for bringing up that idea of capability, both in the design of the program and the skills of the facilitator. A lot of it is managing expectations with the group leader, where you don't know how many calls I've gotten where the group is like, we want trust, communication, leadership, problem solving, and like 7 other things to be mastered in a 3-hour program that involved 2 team building activities and climbing the rock wall. And you're just like, no.
I'm just going to make all those worse.
We can't do any of that.
Yeah.
I know you're excited and you have goals and you called because you saw some great things on the website, but that's not possible. So thinking through some